Vintage radio control systems, Minix, Galloping Ghost, Pulse Mic. Let's check it out.
Good afternoon. My name is Joe Haus. This is my son Chris, and this is a 1965 version of Control. This is a Midwest Model Products Astromite. Has a foam wing and a foam tail, and it uses a single channel 27 megahertz transmitter. The control system is called Galloping Ghost. In a moment, you'll see why. That's full down, full up again, Chris. And then on the rudder, so the control surfaces, I'll turn it off here, the control surfaces move constantly. You're probably asking the question, why in the world would anybody do it this way? Because in the 60s, this was all we had to get multiple channels of control and have them proportional, like flying a full-size airplane. So I got this kit quite by accident in early 2024. I had built this airplane for myself in 1968 with exactly the same control mechanisms. And as you saw today, it still flies. So very much one of a kind. This was the second flight. We're going to fine tune the speed of the motor to slow it down just a little bit, but it's absolutely wild. Thanks for listening.
Let's fly Galloping Ghost at the Flying Pilgrims RC Club, Superior Township, Michigan, with Joe and Chris.
I think the wind has changed a little bit.
Well, you tell me.
I think we should take off right to left.
All right. All right. Needed some right trim and some down. I put in mechanically a little right trim and a little down. Ready?
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Oh, here. Yeah.
Surprisingly, it's not that bad.
What?
Because I have to, I learned, you have to stand behind the post.
Yes.
Okay, we're back in the train room. I want to thank Joe and Chris for an excellent demonstration on this Minix system. Now, back in the, I think the summer of 67 or 68, I actually purchased one of these because back then I used to fly a control line. I lived near what's called Phoenix Park in Redford Township, Michigan. And us kids, you know, we always flew control line. And then this came along and I thought, wow, we got to try this. Now, before this, I had a Heathkit single channel. It was one button. It was like one push for a left rudder and two pushes for right. I can't show you this. I couldn't find my transmitter. But that was way before this. A single channel. You just tossed it and you had rudder only. But anyway, this came out, I think it's somewhere 67 or 68. I actually purchased one of these. And this is the actual transmitter. Now here's the original box for the Rand actuator, which is your Galloping Ghost system. And this thing actually would, you know, pulsate. And over here is the arm for the rudder. This is the arm for the elevator here, and then for the rudder is over here. So this is the Rand actuator. And also with this system, I have still have the original receiver. Give you an idea. And these are actually larger than what we use now. It's probably 3 times larger. Let's take a look at the inside, give you a quick look at that. But this is the receiver, and this whole system was made right here in Detroit, Michigan. And the goes with this system is this is the charger for the transmitter. This actually plugs into the transmitter and charges the transmitter and also charges the receiver. Now, when I first had this system, my first airplane was a Carl Goldberg Skyline 62 with an 049 engine in it. It was kind of underpowered, but we had a hand toss it. It actually flew, and we flew it with this system here. And probably 2 summers later, I bought a Carl Goldberg Falcon 56. Actually flew better. I could do, you know, takeoffs off the ground, even on grass, and get the thing to work. So that's how I got going with this system. Now, when I got done with this, I moved on to this is a Heathkit, and this is the Heathkit thumbtack. This thing still works. I put batteries in it yesterday, tested it out. You point this at the propeller, you turn it on, and it gives you the number of RPMs it's running by measuring the reflection off the propeller. So this is the Tach. It still works. Of course, I'm not using this at all. This is long gone. But this is the Heathkit transmitter. And they actually were made in Michigan. There was a store on 8 Mile Road and actually sold these. You could go in there and buy them. They were kits you had to go home put together. When you got it done, you'd take it back to the store. They'd put it on an oscilloscope, make sure it was set up correctly, and you put them to an airplane. So this was more close to what we have now. It's actually proportional. You know, here's your throttles over here. This was your rudder on this side, the ailerons, and then up and down for the elevator. So that's how I first got going. After I got done with this system, I think in the 1980, I joined the Flying Pilgrims. And this was my first radio with them. And once again, I put it in a Falcon 56. I thought it was a great airplane, and it flew great. And this is close to what we're using now. It's all proportional. Here's your trims, you know. But it did the job, and it was very reliable. Now, also in between this was a system called Kraft radios. I never owned a Kraft radio. They're a little more expensive. But a Kraft was also a very popular radio when this Futaba was out. So I started with Minix. I started with Heathkit, the single channel first, then with the Minix, then went back to Heathkit, then ended up here with this first generation of Futaba proportional radios. Now, I also want to point out to you, the Academy of Model Aeronautics has an excellent YouTube video about the history of these radios. I'll post a link in the description where you can find that video. So I encourage you to check out the AMA's YouTube video about the history of these radios. So once again, this is my system, and that pretty well wraps. This is a wrap for this Galloping Ghost using Minix radios. This is Training Gary saying thanks for watching, and check out these fine videos from the Flying Pilgrims RC Club in Superior Township, Michigan. Once again, thanks for watching.